job is long. Hit the road, but go buy it in a store.
Hello? Not another dragon. We don't need more dragons.
Come on, that's Zale. Don't you remember Zale?
Hi, Zale. How's it going?
Yeah, we're happy to be in Monterey. It's the first time for me in Zale.
Monterey. Alex loved Monterey. The whales. Mice of men.
I think you have to get over, Alex. You have Zale and me now, you know.
Yeah, you know, you're right. Help me, Alex, one. You're my only hope. Oh, here she comes.
What are you doing?
Nothing. All good, all good. You know, you're right. We have to get over things. We need to move on. That's part of the PIC. And maybe we should shout out to the PIC fans out there, anyone?
Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome to PIC 19.
19? Is it that many? Look, you must have been a teenager when it all started, really.
Huh, you know what? Talking about teenager, 19 is the last teenager year. Yeah, and I think you're right. I believe I was fated to be here, Dave.
Fated, yeah, that's
Yes.
very big language right there.
I'm born on the 19th.
Okay, fair enough, right. And you're getting with the program on numbers, anyone who's been here before, no? Did you know, Marina, the 19th hole in golf, do you know what that is?
No.
Anyone? 19th hole? You what? The bar.
Oh, wait, I thought golf had 18
The bar.
holes.
Regulation golf has 18 holes.
Okay.
Right? But the 19th hole is where the real business happens in the bar later. And you're the real business.
I am. That's true.
All right, good. So, 19, what else can we do with 19 just to waste time? Oh, yeah. So, does anyone know that 19 in Japanese culture can be unlucky because did I pronounce that right? No? Anyone? No? No one's checking. No quality checks here, that's great. Jukyu, right, it means painful suffering.
Yeah, and that person there, that's me painfully suffering from Dave's pronunciation. It is difficult enough in English, let alone in Japanese. And by the way, if you wonder why you don't understand Dave, it's because of the specifics of Dave English.
Come on.
And to help you, I have prepared a short guide to Dave's pronunciation. The problem with Dave's English is that it lacks interdental fricatives.
I have dental.
You have dentals, but you don't use them. Interdental fricatives are sounds such as th and the. So when Dave wants to say the three trees, it comes out as, can you say that? Can you say that?
The three trees.
The three trees, yeah, the three trees. So that's the problem. By the way, in the country where I live currently, people say free instead of tree. So yeah, they say free like liberated.
Who's doing the jokes around here?
You do the jokes, I explain them.
All right.
No jokes.
Can I do one?
No.
Yeah? They want one.
Just one. No.
No. So a pirate goes to the doctor.
No.
And he says, Doctor, can you have a look at the moles on me back? Arr. He was a pirate. Stay with the program, people. And doctor says, okay, hold on. Says, it's okay. They're benign. He says, count again, doctor. There'll be 10.
Okay, for those of you who didn't get it, okay, that is the explanation. So there's the pirate and he has 10 moles on his back and the doctor says there'll be 9. Not that they are 9 as the numeral. By the way, Dave, how much is 10 and 9?
19.
Oh yeah, just like the pig. Great. Okay, let's get going. What we need to do now is bring our... How many dragons do we have?
3 dragons.
Yeah, 3 dragons. So our 3 free dragons, please come on the stage. So we have Celine, Salvo, and Olga. Please welcome them. 3 dragons. Yeah, wooden liberated dragons, right? And then we have our 6 innovators, no jokes about 6 innovators out of 25, actually more than 25
welcome.
submissions made it. They're sitting on the front row and they are gonna be presenting. And each one of them has very short time to pitch their innovations. Dave, how much time do the innovators have?
Come on, stop messing.
Sorry?
3 3 minutes, 30 seconds.
Yes, 3 minutes, 30 seconds. And then there will be questions by the dragon. Can you move to the next slide, please? There will be questions by the dragons, 2 short questions, 2 short answers, please. And after that, there's going to be voting. So please stay here because you are going to vote. And you are going to select the Innovator of the Year USA. 50% of the decision comes from your votes, and 50% of the decision comes from our dear free 3 dragons.
3.
So, 3. Okay. And what is the prize?
Well, part of the prize is with Multilingual magazine. You'll get articles depending on where you come in. Thank you very much. Is Eddie around?
Eddie, thanks.
Multilingual.
Thanks, Multilingual.
He's around. Thank you very much to them. Love that they're still involved with us and supporting. What else do we have to do?
We have to get going. So let's bring the first innovator on stage.
Sharif, join us on stage and let's get this show on the road.
Hello, everyone. Do you hear me? Hello, Dragons. So a really long time ago, before ChatGPT, I met with Ulrich here, and Ulrich asked me a very simple question. How long have I been in localization? And how long have I been in localization, and what got me into localization? And my answer to Ulrich was, I'm not in localization. I was just frustrated that my friend who visited my home and spoke 3 languages couldn't interact with my mom who spoke 7 languages. There was no bridge. So my goal was to build a bridge between those. And since then, that bridge has then transitioned to try to make information accessible to people in different African countries. And he told me, well, that's localization. Now, moving on from there, I've come to realize that that problem goes beyond my 5 African languages and there's no screen behind me, there are 2,000 African languages, but less than 3% of them are actually represented in computational linguistics, which is a big problem. Now, we can just whine about the problem, or we can do something about it. And at the African Languages Lab, we are actually doing something about it. We've assembled the largest collection of multilingual data that currently exists for African languages, that currently comprises of 50 billion multilingual tokens across 40 languages, 54 countries, and encompass more than 500 million speakers. Now, that sounds like a lot of data, but in reality, if you look at it in comparison to the data that's needed to train a large language model, it pales. It's actually a drop in the ocean. Now, I don't say this to discourage us. We can actually do a lot of good things because this is good, high-quality data. And you don't believe me? Let me show you. So this figure here, we take an off-the-shelf Llama 1 billion parameter model, and we train it using our data. And as you can see in the figures here, we essentially flatten out the translation error rate across all these languages. We're able to significantly reduce increase the performance gain by reducing the translation error rate across all these languages. At this point, I'm sure you're all excited and want to see what this tool actually looks like. So I'm going to show you. So this is MansalTranslate. It's an innovative contextual translation model that currently serves 20 African languages in a production environment. It's live. You can go use it right now. Now, at this point, my amazing coach, Marina, wants me to tell you about why this is important, and I'm going to tell you. But the translations on the screen, if you don't speak any of these languages, just believe me, they are accurate. Yeah. So here, instead of giving you more numbers and telling you how we're going to scale into your favorite translation TMSs, I'm just going to show these amazing professional and not so professional pictures from the Safari and tell you 3 important things. One of them is scale. Anybody here who has tried to assemble a tool, a chair, or anything without instructions know how hard it is to go from 0 to 1. We are not optimizing some LLM. We're not doing prompt engineering. We're actually building the tool from scratch. The second piece that I want to tell you of why this is important is the fact that the impact of what we're building is not just restricted to localization. We are not only trying to get translators to get access to a translation tool, but the impact goes to health, education, and just general aspects of life of Africans. The final thing I want to say is how this is important, that it's always we hear that we have to wait for the market. But what if the market is at the expense of your language, your culture, and your way of life? We at the African Languages Lab believe that solutions by Africans for Africans is the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I I guess everybody's wondering what Mansa actually means. Can you answer that in one word?
Sure.
Or sentence?
Right. Mansa is paying homage to the richest guy that ever lived. His name was Mansa Musa. He was the king of the Mali Empire.
Yeah, so it's not Elon Musk. Thank you
Not
very
Elon
much.
Musk.
Now,
Yeah.
let's see. Any questions from the dragons? Olga, do you have a question?
Sure. Is this on?
I believe so. Just try.
Okay. So can you share a few data points of the largest impact success story to date for this innovation?
Absolutely. So one of the things we've done with this project is to not make it only be a tool that we build for translators, as I was trying to say. And a good example of this is that we actually built conversational chatbots, and we deployed them in Ghana and Ethiopia, in the rural regions specifically. And our goal was specifically to work with multinational organizations, nonprofits specifically, to deliver menstrual health and sexual health information to girls in remote regions in their local languages. This is something I'm very proud of, and it's still an ongoing effort.
That's impressive. Thank you.
Thank you. We have time for one more question. Salvo, do you have a question?
Absolutely. Could you provide some insights how you validated the quality, the MT quality?
Right. So, great question. One is assuming that there is an even existing benchmark to validate these LLMs, or these models. For a lot of the languages that we work with, your typical quality estimation tools, they don't even exist. They just don't work. So what we do, the gold standard for us, is always working with the humans. We go on the ground, we find people in the communities who are actually going to use these tools, and then we work with them. But we do our due diligence. The figure I was showing before was using a globally accepted benchmark called Flores 200. So it's not that we cooked up some data sets to then make things look good in our favor, but we actually used existing industry-wide benchmarks to do these assessments. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much. Give a big round of applause for Sherry. And let me welcome on stage Marina Sánchez Torrón from SmartLink. Marina, the floor is yours.
Okay, I'm going to tell you a story today. It's a tale of two linguistic engineers. One lives in a winter of despair, and the other one lives in a spring of hope. They both have the same mission, which is building an auto LQA system, but their paths couldn't be more different. So let's look at what the winter engineer is doing. They start by writing a prompt. They then provide human annotations for testing it. They then trigger evaluation. And then two things can happen. One is the prompt fails, in which case it's back to step one, and writing the prompt becomes fiddling with the prompt. This loop can go on for a while, but eventually it works. And our winter engineer, anyway, is still always one step away from prompt break and heartbreak, because whenever there's a AI model update, GPT-6 comes in, for example, it's back to step one again. So our engineer is stuck in a loop of pain within a loop of pain. Now, let's look at what a Spring engineer is doing. They don't write prompts. They code and optimize them with an open source library called ESPy. And this is what they do. They first define the inputs and outputs to the prompt. That is, in goes source and target text, outcomes, and auto LQA analysis. They then provide human annotations for training and testing. They define the strategy to interact with the LLM. This is simple prediction or chain of thought, for example. And then DSPy optimization kicks in. This is the process where DSPy attempts to come up with a prompt that produces the annotations that are more similar to your human annotations. After this automatic evaluation is triggered, and you have to give DSPy some time here if you want to test different optimization settings to come up with the best prompt. So the outcome of this is a stable system, and whenever there's any change, new data comes in or the AI model is updated, you just need to re-optimize again. If after this second optimization, you still don't get the results you want, maybe you want to redefine your strategy, move from predict to chain of thought, for example. So we've seen two paths towards auto LQA. We've seen the winter path, which is what most companies are doing today. It's very high maintenance, it produces a fragile system, and it's a slow one. And we've seen the spring path, which produces a self-optimizing, resilient system, and is very fast. So at this point, you may be wondering, what about the outcome of all these processes? So we've seen substantial improvements using the SPI over manual prompt engineering, both in terms of error detection accuracy and severity assignment accuracy. So it's not just the process, but the outcome of this process that improves. So finally, at Smartly, we've put linguistic prompts in production with the SPI. We've seen faster experimentation, better scalability, and savings because prompt maintenance is minimized. Thank you.
Well done. Nice job. We saw winter of discontent, spring.
Exactly, yeah, I felt literally, yeah.
Very nice. Let's see if the dragons fall for your innovation.
Okay.
No groans for that one. Great. Celine, let's start with you.
Totally fell for it. I would love to know a bit, like you touched on it a little bit, but how does the SPI library actually work, and what kind of reference data do you input in the whole workflow?
Okay, so for the coding bit, you don't need anything. You just need to understand the task. For the optimization bit, you need to have some reference, some evaluations, some human annotations. At SmartLean, every auto LQA process we do, every auto LQA annotation is verified by humans. So these verifications is what we call a gold standard. So this is what fits the optimization process. As for how the SPI works, so the optimization process really is more like a search process based on some hints you give in the program. And this search is a search among, let's say, the space of potential prompts you can have, something like that, yeah.
Olga, do you have a question?
Yeah. What content types have delivered the best results in time savings to date?
I wouldn't say it depends on the content type. It depends more on how much data you have, what kind of predictions you want to make. If you, for example, want to predict error types and you want to optimize on different error types, you need to have a good sample for those. The data availability is important. The model you use is important as well. I usually recommend starting off with a small LLM to see what you can extract from it, but in general, large models perform better. So I don't think content type depends so much as everything that I just said. Yeah.
Excellent. Well done. Thanks, Dragons. And we move on. And next up, let's welcome Gabriel.
What are articulated suggestions? My name is Gabriel Fairman. Stick with me for the next few minutes and let's find out. Human translation stands on the edge of extinction. Every headline says the same thing. The art of translation is obsolete. Executives, they believe AI is good enough. And can you blame them? All they see are numbers. But language transcends numbers, reshaping culture and identity. When good enough wins, we vanish. Not just from work, but from language itself. But what if we could reveal and amplify the value that only humans bring? Welcome to BureauWorks BrainLink. Just kidding, kinda not. Welcome to Articulated Suggestions. Articulated Suggestions lets me translate on the plane of ideas, not just words. Instead of tracking edits, It focuses on intent, the why behind every choice. Let's pretend I'm a translator and see how it works. Here, following my style guide, it suggests cutting edge to spark curiosity and show innovation. But I don't agree. I'll replace cutting edge with advanced. Articulated suggestions gets that I rejected cutting edge because it implies that today's innovation will soon be outdated. It doesn't just record what I change, it captures why I change it. And if that reasoning is off, I can rewrite it. It can then learn how I really think. For example, I can say I chose advanced to sound less bold and appeal to a broader audience. In another case, I'll change the to our. A small change hiding big intent. I'm bringing the reader closer to our product. Now comes the powerful part. Articulated suggestions learns from these patterns. Since I replaced cutting edge with advanced, it now suggests changing various to several, keeping the same accessible tone. And since I chose our, it suggests switching it to we, making the text more personal. Translation isn't about words, matches, or log files anymore. It's about understanding decisions and the human intent behind them. And what's so special about this new way of translating anyway? Well, aside from being the first of its kind and a step toward human agency over language, nothing. Just kidding. In our early studies, reviewers saw stronger editorial judgment and better writing overall. Buyers saw 60 to 70% more value, finally seeing they were buying intent, not words. But this isn't just perception. This is authorship restored. Editing on the plane of ideas means every decision holds meaning, and when meaning is visible, it gains value. Yes, it's faster and better, but it's also stand against a world obsessed with output. With AI, things may look good, yet doubt always lingers. Was it human? Was it real? Was it worth it? We need tools that return ownership to the human mind, where translators aren't validators, but authors of outcomes, where their thoughts remain alive in their work. In an age where every action trains the next, those thoughts carry immense value. Articulated suggestions lays the foundation for that value to be seen, felt, and rewarded. Translation, as we've known it, may be over, but this might be the beginning of something far more human and far more enduring. Thank you.
Well done. Nice job. Yeah, Christopher Walken was in there. Right? Anyone notice that? So let's see if you've entered the dead zone with the dragons. Anyone? No? Or maybe they'll catch you if you can. No, that's not working either. Or maybe it'll be true romance. Yeah, we have one film buff in the audience. Dragons, let's ask a question to Gabriel. Celine, start us off.
Thank you, Gabriel. A great presentation. I wanted to ask, so you talk about 60-70% increase of perceived value. I can so see this for my internal team. How would I convince my external stakeholder beyond my team? Because they wouldn't be working in the tool directly, but they would still benefit from understanding what has happened in the process.
That's a great question. I think, and maybe I was talking earlier today about how I understand a lot of what's happening as the death or breakdown of a religion. And I think part of that means that the language that we're using with our stakeholders also needs to change. Because in my opinion, personally, the real advantage of translating this way is that you're not just translating, you're training a whole data set in terms of the patterns that people are using. And that carries such a bigger value than the actual words themselves. So I think it's about reframing what the service means. I mean, if it's just a transactional service of a commodity, words in, words out, it's hard to convince people of this value. But if you're explaining that you're creating an entire framework for brand principles, brand guidelines, for a way of communicating and relating to hyper personas, then I think people can understand that this has a lot of return of investment for any kind of brand. But yeah, great question.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's take another question. Salo?
Very cool. Could you give us more insights in how this impacts velocity?
That's a great question, too. So in our studies, velocity hasn't changed significantly from traditional translation patterns. And what's cool about that is that there's so much more going on in terms of depth. And if we're able to give that much more depth and still maintain speed, that's a lot of added value. Our assumption is that towards the future, velocity will change, because as these patterns get more and more recognized and more attuned to the people who are working in them, then that velocity changing is a natural consequence of that alignment, let's say, between the human and the machine. And I think overall, that's what we're looking for. More than speed is alignment. That's what's important.
Excellent. Great questions. Well done, Gabriel.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Pleasure being here.
Well done. We're moving through. And next up is Andreas Ljungström. Let's welcome.
Good afternoon, I'm Andreas. Let's zoom in for a moment. We're all here because localization teams face an impossible challenge of balancing speed, cost, and quality. And sitting right in the middle of that balancing act is something that we're often faced with and wrestle with: quality estimation. Imagine Julia, a not so happy product marketing manager at a global manufacturer. Every week she sends tons of content into 12 languages. Now here's her problem. The QE tools she relies on just gives her a single score. It's like going to the doctor and being told, you're 20% sick. No diagnosis, no guidance, just a number. So Julia's team ends up buried in reviews, projects slow down, costs climb. And Julia is left burning budget and time while still unsure if the final content is good enough. What teams like Julia's need isn't just another blunt score. They need clear quality signals that show what to fix, why it matters, and how to move faster. And that's missing today. Now, imagine going back to that doctor. This time they run a full diagnostic. They show you exactly where the problem is, why it's happening, and how to fix it. That's the leap we bring to localization with Intelligent Score. Multiple LLMs work together, guided by your own resources, terminology, TM, and context, to produce and evaluate translations. And here's the breakthrough. Every score comes with actionable diagnostics. Errors are broken down into MQM categories, giving you a clear editing roadmap. And it scales. With one pass, you can score entire projects and get a full quality overview. Built into XTM Cloud, Intelligent Score doesn't just score, it automatically directs reviews to where they matter most. It's fast, it's clear, and it turns quality estimation from a black box into a trusted guide. And here's the twist. Everyone is talking about their secret sauce. With Intelligent Score, the secret sauce, it's not ours, it's yours. Your terminology, your TM, your context. We're just a cook who makes sure that everything fits together perfectly. And here's why this matters. In localization, every delay is wasted time, wasted money, and wasted opportunity. With Intelligent Score, quality estimation becomes an upstream quality gate. It doesn't just flag what to review, it drives efficiency across the entire workflow. The results, up to 81% cost savings. Remember Julia's team and her cost climbing earlier? That's what we're solving. We're cutting wasted reviews so effort only goes where it matters. One customer found 90% production-ready output, so cutting review effort by 90%. And here's the real question. What would you do if you got 90% of your time back? That's not just an improvement, that's a transformation. In a nutshell, Intelligent Score is more than a metric. We're transforming quality estimation from a number you ignore to a signal you trust. Remember Julia's team buried in endless reviews? With Intelligent Score, they only touch the 10% that matters, and it's faster to fix. That's Intelligent Score, diagnostics that deliver impact.
Thank you, Andres. Thanks. I have a question for you. What would you do if you got 90% of your time back?
If I can't spend it with the family and have to work, then I would probably code. I've started coding.
Okay, great. Thank you, thank you. Questions from the dragons? Olga.
Sure. How does the system ensure that the scoring remains both consistent and meaningful across languages, across domains, even across user roles like linguists, managers, agents?
Okay, so first we use a set of LLMs, right? So that reduces bias. We're not betting on one horse, so they score each other internally. That part is actually the little bit of secret sauce that I can't reveal, but that makes it also very resilient. Yes, we can swap out the LLMs potentially, right? And we can also work against multiple domains, as you said. They are generalists in nature, the LLMs. That's how they work. But since we can tune them at runtime with TM, terminology, and context, they become specialists.
Thank you very much. Very good answer. Celine, do you have a question?
I do. So it seems to be fully customizable. I wonder if you can tell us anything about self-optimization, like if you don't agree with the diagnosis, do you have the opportunity to change it? Anything like that?
Yeah, so first of all, you define what good looks like. So the thresholds are completely customizable, either for you, for the system, for the customer, let's say, or the individual project, so and languages. So you define what is bad, what is good, acceptable, and what is good. So if you want the threshold very high, that's just a decision you make.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's give a big round of applause for Andreas. And I'd like to invite our next innovator here, Klaus Fleischmann, who is going to talk about tag. It sounds really short, but do you know how one says it in his native language, German? Inhaltsgenerierungsterminologie Einreicherungsprotokoll.
Great job.
Yes.
Congratulations.
I had to have it landscape on my phone. It doesn't fit otherwise. Good luck.
Welcome, I'm Klaus from Kaleidoscope, and since that is such a complicated title, I actually came up with a subtitle, which is Why Terminology is Like Music. I hope I'm not the only Pink Floyd fan here. So how did I come up with that? Well, if we look back at the beginning, this was my stereo dream machine. And it's just like an AI model nowadays, actually. It has brilliant output, but it's really difficult to control that output. You have to swap records, flip them around, and you really can't take it with me, believe me. And that's kind of like our AI LLM engines today. You know, the marketing person is trying to figure out, how can I stay on brand linguistically? How can I be consistent in my translation? The data people are saying, how can I generate correct data using all this? And of course, we as linguists, as terminologists, we are scratching our heads saying, why aren't they looking at us? We have the solution for this. It's called terminology. But how do I get that into an LLM? That's what I want to tell you. There were some attempts. We all tried prompt engineering. We all tried RAG. None of that really worked. We tried glossaries and machine translation engines. All of that has their problems. The music industry also tried. There was the Walkman. There was the iPod. Good stuff. But you still needed to buy the records. It still wasn't very all in one place. And first step was actually the invention of the smartphone. And the first step in what I'm doing here, or what I'm explaining to you, is tag. What does tag stand for, apart from what Marina just mentioned in German? Well, it stands for 4 different things. A term base has very, very structured data models. So we know exactly where to find what information. We don't have to guess like we do in RAG. We can retrieve very precisely with filters. We can output flexible formats so that LLM can ideally process them, like prose language or JSON or something like that. And it's in real time. We don't need to upload it. We call it tag, terminology augmented generation, or I'm not going to say the German word again. So that's a great idea, but how do we get tag into the LLM? Like, how do we plug our headset into the new smartphone? Well, that's where MCP comes in. And MCP is like streaming for the music technology. MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. That's not something we invented. That's just out there. And it basically allows you to connect external data sources to the LLM process. And one of those could be terminology. Could be other things as well, but in my use case, of course, it's terminology. So let's briefly look at how that works. I have this Spanish sentence, sorry, but I have to use foreign languages here to show translation use cases. So here we have a problem, and that's the word vela. Vela can mean two things. If you feed this to a normal machine translation or LLM system, it will not get the difference between those two. With TAG, what we do is we quickly look into the term base and we retrieve the fact that, oh, there are two concepts that are named Vela, but they are two different things. And we don't only retrieve the translation, we also retrieve the definition. Just a few tokens, a little bit of prose text, and that's enough for the LLM or for modern machine translation engines to actually translate it correctly. So we have candles and we have sail. Different use case for attack, for example, we can check text. So for example, machine translation output or just source text. Here we have two forbidden terms, cold start knob. Interesting thing is the correct term is different depending on the context. Again, something you can't do if you don't have that context or that additional information available. I wish I could speed up the video, but I can't. But there are different use cases as well. For example, you could feed that to a chatbot. So for example, if I ask this chatbot, what is a bolter miner? GPT-4o will tell me, I have no clue what that is. It's maybe a mistyping or I don't know. But with TAG, we can actually fix that. So it's a game changer for the world because it unlocks the savings and for the localization industry because we stay relevant. Thank you very much. Oh, and by the way, that still exists.
Hey, great job.
Questions about
Klaus, I'm behind you.
You're there.
Really nice job. Like I have to say, you know, I've a question for the dragons. Is that another brick in the wall?
Oh, Marina, I wish you were here.
The best jokes ever.
Wish you were here. They didn't get that one.
Oh,
so hey, let's see what the dragons have to say. So Salva, let's start with you.
All right. Can you give us again insights on how you validated the quality? So how did it get better?
Well, it gets better because it manages to disambiguate. So in the past, if you have, in this one particular use case where we disambiguated the homonym, you would have a homonym that with the standard machine translation engine, you can't really solve that problem. With an LLM, we discussed that actually yesterday at the AI roundtable. If the sentence is clear enough, the LLM will actually get it right. But if the sentence is not clear enough, it won't because it doesn't understand the context. Or I have different examples as well where, for example, you have the same term or the same concept in English, but you have different concepts in a different language. For example, insulation is one of those. For us German speakers, it's a difference if you have electrical versus heat insulation. And you can get that right because with TAG, you can retrieve that from the term base. It gets this additional information, and then it processes it correctly.
Great. Olga?
Yeah, how effectively can subject matter experts who aren't familiar at all with localization tools perform compared to translators?
That's a brilliant question. Thanks a lot for that, because I think one of the beauties of this is by doing this, we can get terminology out there into our organization without people actually knowing that they're using terminology. Because one of the big problems of terminology, I don't know if any of you has this problem, is that it's really difficult to promote it in the company and say, use the term base. You know, there's so much information in there. But by just plugging it straight into the LLM tools, they're actually using it without even noticing it. So if in Copilot you put something like explain this, translate that, write this, it's actually accessing the term base, but the users don't even notice it. And of course it increases the value of the localization team because you provide that data.
Excellent.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, dragons. Klaus, well done.
Thank you.
See, we're down to the last one. Would you believe that? So let's ask Konstantin.
All right. So any business process has two essential parts: governance and execution. Governance defines when, how, what should be done. Execution implements those requirements. And I think you would agree that in the language industry, most of the people, resources, and innovation is focused on translation execution. How we do translation, post-editing, how we manage those processes. In other industries, we've seen examples how execution was automated and human focus shifted completely to governance. Fabric weaving, we're now focused on design, materials, quality. Car manufacturing, robots assemble cars today, and people are thinking about design, software, and innovation. Stock trading, no one yelling orders at the moment. People are thinking about signals and investment strategies. So can we automate translation execution this way? Well, yes, And quite a few of our customers prove it, and also you can see our translation automation report. So once it's automated, how this day-to-day language governance job may look like. Well, let's see. Let's say you're just starting to automate translation. You want just good translation, you don't have any specific quality requirements, so you just configure some routing based on some benchmark, and your first job would be to translate instruction manuals from English to Chinese. So you run some sample translations, it all goes automatically through auto LQA and populates your dashboard. And you see that in general quality is good, but there are some issues. So the first one is emission. Again, general quality is good, no need to update your AI configuration, you can just fix this emission using AI suggestion. And if you don't speak Chinese, you can use AI explanation to make some sanity check. And you accept it goes to translation memory. Second problem, your company name was not translated, but that's exactly what you want to have. You could have just skipped that, but then you realize it's actually a systemic problem. And you have actually preferential requirement, which is terminology consistency. So you add this requirement, you go to your marketing or localization team, you get those glossaries, you configure this requirement with those glossaries, and then you run some more translations, and what you see, well, you see that this requirement is failing because you didn't change your translation. So you go to a different tool, you use terminology augmented generation, and it goes great. But then your marketing team decides to translate HTML to Spanish. And besides few new errors, you actually see a notice that you have incomplete requirements. Because you look there, you translate it to Spanish, it actually has multiple tone of voice. And also, it detected that you have tags in your text, so you should decide what to do with them. You accept those suggestions, you configure those requirements, informal tone of voice, medium criticality, tag handling for HTML, critical, no tag should be missed. You run some more translations, you see they have failed again, so you have to go again, update your agentic translation workflows to make everything green. So this is actually a language governance process which we run for some of our customers using our linguistic support services already today. And this UI is our first approach to making it self-service. And I believe that that's the right way for humans to move from being in the loop to being in charge of translation. Thank you.
Not your run-of-the-mill innovation? No one? Okay. Let's see with the dragons if your stock is up. Anyone? No? Okay. Dragons, let's start with Celine.
All right. You started your presentation with governance. How do you, so it's a self-serve process, and potentially non-native speakers could be doing the clicks, as you mentioned. What do you think are the risks, and how would you mitigate them in this process?
Well, actually, in reality, it happens a bit differently. So we presented a couple of weeks ago with the Dow Jones, how it happens for them. And actually, it's their translators who moved from translating news to being in charge and managing this process. Yeah, they moved from like 10 news per day to 1,000 news per day. And it's like 5% of that time still.
Thank you.
So it's important. That's process where human part is essential. Governance, we cannot remove human. Yeah.
Question? Sava?
Very cool. Could you give us again more visibility into production environments where you have this, where it has been done, where you have implemented this?
So, example which I can't talk about because it's public, it's a translation of, for example, Dow Jones Newswire for stock traders. Zero mistake tolerance, people, buying stock who will be reliable for that. Huge volumes per day, just not possible to do with humans at all. And we started with, as I said, we asked what's the requirements? They tell us, we don't have any requirements, should be good translation. And then through iterations, just bottleneck, we even came to requirements which you cannot even describe in English. You can only describe them in Korean. So that's the process, and that's an example.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well done, Konstantin. Thank you. Well done.
Thanks to the innovators. We heard some fantastic innovations today and had very deep questions from the dragons, but that doesn't mean you don't get a question. So let me ask you something. Yeah. Dragons,
I hope it's going to be a tough question.
It's going to be a tough question.
Yeah, good.
Yes, because it's going to demand a short answer, and these are the hardest questions. So, if you could describe the innovations today in one single phrase, what you heard today in one single phrase, what would it be? Who want to go first?
I can go first if you want. I would say awakening, because I took all those calls at 3 a.m. and they kept me awake, so it was really
Great. Salvo, you want to give it a try?
Evolutionary.
Evolutionary, I like that. Olga?
I think, in one sentence, moving the industry to high value add.
Perfect, moving. So we have awakening, evolutionary, and moving the industry. Thank you very much. Thank you, dragons. Thanks. What do we have next?
The fun bit.
Oh, yes, the most important part.
So, as usual, anyone who's been here before, I think there was 3.
Oh,
Thank you.
3.
Thanks at the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So scan away. If there's any problem, find us later. We will count your vote. Okay. So just stay around. If you have any problems, we'll deal with that and count your vote. But yeah, you can scan that. We'll show that again in a second. So we'll give you another few seconds. Marina, what do you think? Question for you.
No more jokes. No.
No more jokes.
Okay. Question.
Innovation-wise, what do you think? What kind of balance did we see in this PIC?
What kind of what?
Balance.
Balance.
Yeah. Are we moving forward in a particular direction?
Yes, I think we're moving forward in the direction to being more human. So if I am to kind of summarize the innovations, they were targeted at helping humans be more efficient, more productive, do better job, understand AI better. Does that count as a good answer for you?
That's very short.
Oh, yeah.
Concise. Yeah, well done. All right, you're scanning away. I see phones down. Please vote. Have a think about it. You know, we're going to keep that up until around 5, but it's better to do it now if you can. Now, you probably saw earlier, you know, one of the things that we're doing this year with Middlebury School, is Max around? Max is involved in this as well. There he is. Hey, Max. Is have the students do pitches. So they're going to be at the booth, the LocWorld booth this afternoon during the break. So there's a break straight after this, and there's another break later on in the afternoon. So please pop by the booth to see them do a 5-minute pitch. But we're going to ask them to give you a teaser trailer of that. So let's invite them on stage, and I'll introduce them. Come on, join us here. Hey! Come here. So, Jane Shin, welcome.
Thank you, Dave. Good afternoon, I'm Jane Shin, and the idea I brought up for PIC is the pre-flight localization crew, AI multi-agent system that built to work hand in hand with content creators and localization teams, and is aimed to find the localization issues earlier in the content life cycle. So if you ever are interested in this idea and you want to see a real-world example of how AI can optimize workflow, feel free to stop by my session. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you. Next up is Kevin. Welcome, Kevin.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kevin. And since I only have 40 seconds, so I'll be fast. It's great to be here. This is my first time to speak up in front of all these people. I'm a bit nervous. My name is Kevin. I'm currently a Master degree student in localization and translation. And this is my 3rd year. I will be graduating next May. What I'm introducing today is a localization workflow, as you can see on both of the screens. You can think it as a simultaneous interpretation done by LLMs with other accessibility functions as, real-time subtitling. And why, we may ask, since we have better providers, they have easier setups, more support, right? So the reason I gave you is that there are translators and interpreters. They don't have access to internet infrastructures. They might work remotely, in the center of the desert or under mine shaft or something. Or someone does not want to sell their company data to a third-party company. And most importantly, it's open source and free. So if you are interested in, please come to our booth next room, and I'll show you how it works. And thanks for your time.
Excellent.
Dave, thanks so much for having me here. I just want to give a quick shout out, first of all, to Professor Troyer. Thanks so much for allowing me to be here. Big round of applause for him. All right, and thank you to the mid students here who are also here to provide some support. So, the $15 billion LQA industry faces a critical challenge. While the demand for high-quality localization explodes, current solutions are trapped in archaic black box architectures. Professional translators, LSPs, and enterprises struggle with tools that can't explain their decisions or adapt to increasingly complex domains. The result? Inefficient workflows, wasted resources, and compromised quality. The industry needs an all-in-one integrated solutions for intelligent scoring, for articulated suggestions, and for linguistic reasoning, all in one. Today, I'll present that breakthrough. Please come to the booth to learn more. Thank you.
Well done. Well done. Thanks, Drew. So, thank you to you and the other student innovators in PIC Sneaks. Thank you. Well done all. Thank you. All right. So we're going to have a quick chat, and some people have seen Terrell already out in Solution Square, and she's the CEO of Unicode, and we also have Ben Cornelius, who many will know. Let's welcome them on stage. We have a quick chat. Good stuff. Thanks for joining us. And, you know, let's talk about Unicode. How is Unicode an enabler for innovation?
That's great. Thank you so much for asking and the opportunity to be here with all of you. So the question I have back is, how world ready is your tech stack? Alphabetical sorting, metric versus imperial, bidirectional text, non-Gregorian calendars, time zone localization, and much more. Unicode has already solved for majority languages. So we are an enabler in two key ways. We can accelerate time to market, so new regions, scripts, locale data and libraries are already built in, so there's no need to reinvent your stack with each expansion of your footprint. And then secondly, we free up engineering teams for innovation, not reinvention. So you can focus on the features and strengthen your role in the value chain of your client and your overall value proposition.
Excellent. Well, if you didn't know that, you know it. Now, let me ask a more casual question. What are you seeing situation-wise in your remit as CEO of Unicode that you feel, hey, we've got to get in there?
Okay. So I think I work for one of the coolest companies in technology. It's embedded in every operating system and probably the most widely deployed technology in the world. So there are four key areas within the remit. One is, of course, ongoing work. So some of you may know that the Saudi government has launched a new currency symbol, and that was just included in the character encoding standard a few weeks ago. And then now we're working on what is the behavior of that particular character. And within that same remit, language and locale data for digitally disadvantaged languages. The second area where I see opportunity is industry-specific use cases. So for example, Bloomberg became a member to bring use cases related to financial services. I think there's a lot of opportunity in insurance, pharma, gaming, and also low-resource environments. Third area is new projects. I don't know if Mike McKenna is in the room, but he's been leading a project on person name formatting. And the fourth is, of course, AI and LLMs. We're ready for discussion regarding standardization when the industry is. And so we invite you to get involved.
Yeah, thank you very much. And you can find Terrell in Solution Square. Go have a chat with her. Very interesting stuff. And it's more than UTF-8, right?
It certainly is.
Be careful, Dave.
So much.
Thank you. Ben, what do you think? You've seen the PIC many, many times. You've been in Dragon at least on one occasion. What do you think of the innovation say in the state we're in?
Well, here, Dave, I thought you just wanted me to endure your challenging jokes for the 19th time.
I need one.
At least one. At least one. I love the PIC. As you guys have seen in the past, the PIC has been evolving, and we keep showcasing these wonderful changes in process, in mindset, in technology that really impact users. In the same way that Unicode is an enabler, the innovations that we continually see on this stage and from this group of people in the localization space is stunning. We're connecting humans. We're doing a better job of that every single day of every single year. So I'm really excited as we see a lot more convergence back on why is the human the target of all of the work that we do? How do we make sure that we're enabling the humans in the processes, using the technology and refining their goals to do a great job and hitting all of our customers worldwide. So I've been able to work for some very big companies where we needed to push content in real time to billions of people. And this is the group here that makes that easy for all of us.
Brilliant. Ben, thank you very much. And Torrón, thank you very much. Good stuff. Innovative voices. Excellent. Last minute voting you can still do. Dragons, thank you very much. Well done, Dragons. Innovators, thank you. Innovators, thank you all. Coffee's waiting for you, and thanks for joining the PIC. And we'll do the voting, prize given tomorrow. Turn up and see who wins. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.